Now back in our index.html, we can start developing our navigation by starting off with a div. Then we want to create another div here with the class navbar placeholder. Underneath that div, we'll create a nav element with a class of navbar and flex. Next, we'll create an anchor tag here, and the href needs to be equal to our home ID. Within this anchor element, we're going to create an image element with the class animation. Our src needs to be equal to our logo image in our assets folder. And then we need to make sure we add alternative text for accessibility. Navigate to fontawesome.com. So we'll go ahead and search up Font Awesome here, go to the first one, and then we can just navigate here to where it says icons. And what we need to do is get our bars icon. So we'll search for that one. And we're going to use the free option here. We can click on that, simply click on this to copy it. And now we can simply paste it in to our HTML. Now you guys can see it appear here. Now we need to create another div with the class nav menu and flex, and then we need to go back to Font Awesome and we want to search for our X icon, and we'll go ahead and use this first one here, copy and paste this in. And for both of our icons here, we also want to include the animation class. Next, I'm going to create an anchor element with the class of animation, and inside here we want to link to our home ID, and then we want to make our text home. Next, we want to copy this and paste it below 4 more times. And then for each one of these, I'm going to go ahead and change out my ID and the text. I have this all customized to exactly the IDs I want and the text. Next, I want to create another anchor element with the class btn, then nav-btn, and animation. And here I want to link this again to my contact ID section. I simply want to specify contact text again. Now we want to navigate back to our styles.css, and before we target specifically our navigation, I want to create some global styling. So to do that, I'm going to use my asterisk, and we want to make our margin equal to 0. And then our padding also needs to be 0 here. And we also want to have a default font text of white. So we'll specify that. Next, we want to target our HTML element, and we want to change our font size to 100%. And then I also want to specify a scroll behavior of smooth. So when we navigate throughout our website, it scrolls smoothly. Then we want to target our body element, change our background color to black, and we want to specify our font family, and we're going to use Arial. Change our max width to 100 rem, and we want to have a margin of auto so everything stays centered, and we want a standard font size of 1 rem. Now I'm going to target my btn class here, and we want a padding of 1 rem by 2 rem, a border radius of 2 rem, border of none, and then we want to use our background, and inside here we want to specify a linear gradient. First, we need to specify 267 degrees, followed by our color and the percentage, followed by our second color and its percentage. Then I want to change my font size to 1.2 rem, and I want to get rid of that underline by using our text decoration and changing it to none. Now I want to target our animation class, make our cursor a pointer, change our transition to 0.5 seconds, and then below this, I also want to target my animation class again, but I only want these styles to happen when I hover over the elements with this class. So I want to specify a transform, and then I want to scale this at 1.03. Then I also need to target the flex class here, so I'll go ahead and specify a display of flex. And then I also want to align our items to the center. Now you guys can see we're displayed as flex and our animation successfully worked. Now I want to move on to specifically targeting our nav bar elements. So we'll go ahead and target our nav bar class. We want to change our justify content to space around. Our padding needs to be 1 rem and 6 rem. We want to change our box sizing to border box. And we also want to specify a background color of black. And to make sure this stays at the top of our screen, even when we scroll, we'll change our position to fixed. And because of that, we need to make a width of 100%. And then we want this to appear over everything in our website. So we'll use our Z index and say 999. And then we also want to use our max width and make this equal to 100 rem. Then we want to target our nav bar, but we only want to target the image and we only want to target the first image in this. So we'll use image : nth child and then specify 1, and that's going to select specifically our logo. And we just want a width of 3 rem and a padding left of 6.5 rem and a padding right of 6.5 rem. Next, we want to target our nav menu class, and in this class we want to have a gap of 2 rem. Then we want to target our nav menu again, but only the anchor elements within that class. And what we want to do is get rid of the underline using our text decoration and changing that to none. Target our nav bar placeholder class, and this is just going to add some extra spacing, and we'll just change the height here to 60 pixels. Now you guys can see it's not doing exactly what we want here, because in our navbar class we need to also specify a top of 0, and then you guys will see that it adjusts accordingly. Now we need to target our icons, so we'll use the FA bars class and the FAX class to target both of our icons. What we want to do is change the display to none, because we're only going to need those on a mobile device. So what we can do now is create a media query to create our mobile navigation. And what we'll do is we need to specify a max width of 1200 pixels. And here we want to target our navbar class. And what we want to do is change our justify content to space between. And then we simply want to copy this from above, paste it in here. And what we want to do is change our display to block, and we want a font size of 2 rem here. Then we want to paste that again, and what we want to do is get rid of this, and we want to target this when we click it. So we'll go ahead and add :active for both of these. And then we want to say transform, and what we're going to do is rotate that -10 degrees, and this is only going to happen when you click on it. So now if we go here and click, you guys are going to see it rotate -10 degrees. And then for our mobile devices, we don't want to have our contact button. So we'll go ahead and target our nav button and change our display to none. Target our nav menu again to set up our mobile navigation links. So we need to add a position of fixed, change our flex direction to column, align our items to the start top again of 0, followed by a gap of 3 rem. Then we want to make our font a little bit bigger so it's easier for people to click, so we'll change that to 2 rem. Then we want a background color, and we're going to use the color code of just 2s repeating here. Then we want it to be 20 rem in width. We want our height to be 100%, so we'll specify that. And we're going to target our Z index to make sure this appears over everything, so we'll just say 2 for this one. Add a transition, specify from the right and say 0.5 seconds. Then I want to add some padding, so I'll go ahead and add 1 rem of padding. Then I want to move this off the screen for now, so I'll go ahead and say -20 rem. And what you guys are going to notice is that there's still the left side of this navigation showing, and to fix that we can once again use our box sizing and change that to border box, and you guys will see it completely off the screen to the right side now. And that's going to take us into our JavaScript file here. So what we need to do is create a variable called nav open. And then what we want to do is select this element right here using JavaScript. So to do that, we're going to use document.query selector, and then we want to select specifically our fa-bars class. So we're selecting that element here and storing it in this variable. And now we need to select our other icon. So we'll go ahead and copy and paste this, change this variable to nav close, and then we want to get our fa-x class. Paste this one more time, and this variable we want to get our entire navigation. So we'll change the name of that variable to nav, and then we want to select our nav-menu class. Now what we need to do is attach a click event listener to this icon here. So to do that, what we want to do is specify our variable where we're grabbing our element here, and what we need to do is say add event listener, and the first parameter here is going to be what we're listening for, and we want to listen for a click. And then the second parameter here is going to be our callback function, namely what we want it to do when we click on it. So what we want to do here is change our nav.style.right. And sometimes VS Code will do this where it tries to change things. We don't want computed style map. We just want style here .right. And then we simply just need to make that equal to 0. Now if we click on this, you guys are going to see our navigation slide onto our page, but we need to set it up to where we can close out of it as well. So what we'll do is we'll copy this, paste it down below, target our nav close variable, and this we just need to change it back to -20 rem. And so now if we click on this and we click the X, you guys will see it's fully dynamic and functions as we want it to. And you guys will see that if we adjust to a full screen layout, that we have our full screen navigation as well. Tap here to see what happens next.